on?
Yeah.
Is it working?
Flip that power switch. Really saved the day.
Excellent. Thank God you're here, IT master.
Yeah. Yep. I turned the mixer on. Bow
man.
before me.
It boggles the mind.
All right. Should we do it?
Yeah, of course. Invasion USA. Chuck the God.
Chuck.
I forgot how much I enjoyed his movies. You know.
Well, should we introduce ourselves or what we're doing here?
Sure. Yes, I'm sorry. Please.
Well,
go. No, do it. Yep.
All right. Well, this is our second episode, I guess. Of our other show, which we were calling Review Vomit when we did Joker, but but
that was a terrible name. I'm sorry I thought of it. A much better name has come to light.
Yeah, we should introduce ourselves because it'll make more sense.
You first.
Well, I'm Chris,
the mastermind behind Horror Vomit.
Ugh.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful podcast. Come on, dude.
All right, introduce yourself.
My name is Brad, and I am an independent content creator and massive movie fan. And God bless Chris, he puts up with a lot of my ranting during the movie.
So we've decided to not go under the name of Review Vomit, but as Havens and Faft Videos.
Right.
Or HPV.
HPV.
For short.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant. So we'll have T-shirts and coffee cups coming soon.
Yes.
And more conversations about movies, just like this one.
Yep.
Which was what one again, Chris?
We're talking about the 1986 Chuck Norris smash hit Invasion USA.
Yes. The action-filled masterpiece.
Holy shit, is it? Oh, man.
It's a great example not only of Chuck Norris movies, but like Chuck Norris at his absolute peak, but also, you know, the beauty and simplicity of the politics of the 80s movies, where it didn't matter, you know. Chuck was the good guy. Anybody he scowled at was the bad guy. And, you know, maybe some kids got saved or maybe they didn't. But...
So, this is the second Chuck Norris film that you and I have watched together.
Yes.
We've been on a real Chuck Norris kick.
Oh, dude, I was shocked when the first movie was missing in action.
Yep.
Yeah, I was shocked that Chuck Norris is actually the bad guy in that movie. By contemporary political standards.
Oh, man, is he.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, all of these bad guys who we naturally had, obviously, according to the politics of the time, these people were terrible, mean people. They had bad uniforms and different, you know, colored skin, shall we say. They spoke a different language, let's put it that way. That was enough.
It was, for anybody who doesn't know what missing in action is, that is Chuck Norris saving imprisoned Vietnam veterans.
Chuck Norris fights the Vietnamese army.
Yep.
And causes an international incident.
Immediately.
He
is there in official capacity to, like, make up with the Vietnamese government and just mad dogs all of them.
Man, the best part is he gets off the plane and the Vietnamese diplomat is there, puts out his hand. Very nice to meet you. And Chuck just stares him down. He won't shake his hand. And everybody's like, oh my God, you're so embarrassing. Right?
Yeah.
But Chuck's like, I'm the man.
Yeah, because even, like, the press secretary's just like, hey, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
What do you think you were doing in there?
Well, you know, much like Invasion USA, he doesn't say a whole lot. You know? He just kind of stares in this particular light and either changes his shirt or wears a particular kind of vest so that his chest can glisten along with his hair.
I have to bring this up because it's going to eat away at me if I don't.
Okay.
I have to say my favorite part, though, of Invasion USA is the first guy that he encounters on his stealth mission. He just runs up and kicks him in the balls from behind. I don't know why, but my God.
Yeah.
That was just incredible.
Excellent.
But I'd be hard pressed.
Martial arts technique that you saw.
Hard pressed to nail down a single moment in this film that made me go, "Holy shit!" And not because there weren't any, but because there are so many.
Oh yeah. Well, that's one of the things that makes me love these movies is because it was before the the digital graphic effects, before green screens and all of that stuff. So if they were going to fire a rocket into a house and make it blow up, well, you had to blow up a house somehow. You had to make it look like you were firing a rocket if you weren't actually going to fire a rocket. And truth be told, you wouldn't want to actually fire a rocket because the explosion that you want for the cameras is actually a lot bigger than what you would get from those rockets. So you'd want, you got to juice it up. And, I mean, those fireballs are real. I fucking love it. Yeah. You crash cars, you're really crashing cars. Uh-huh.
And, the first 30 minutes of Invasion USA is character setup that I don't think they needed whatsoever. They could have just plopped us right in the middle of that story.
You needed the depth. You needed the story arcs so that you had an emotional connection to Chuck and his stoic, no lines throughout the movie face.
I will hand it to you that if they had skipped that initial 20, 30 minutes, we would not have gotten the intro shot, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
It is Chuck Norris with an open vest, just cruising around in the Everglades on a fan boat.
Oh my God. I mean,
man, just glistening in the sun like a fucking cherub.
As a man myself, I felt attracted to him, I have to say. And I'm not typically attracted to men, but my God, he was so beautiful.
If that doesn't make it wiggle a little, there's something wrong with you.
Yes, you have no soul. You have no ability to recognize beauty in its purest form. Gender is not a part of it. It is simply the exquisite Adonis,
He is a sculpture. He is a living
piece of art.
Yes, he is like a Greek god perched upon his heavenly fan boat, just glistening in the sun.
That it's a fan boat going over the Everglades. Oh my God, that's so
Which leads into him wrestling alligators.
Wrestling alligators. Oh, no doubt. Oh God, that was so lovely.
It's so good.
And don't forget, he wrestles the alligator, and the Indian, who was not really a Native American, excellent eye. Man, I was so embarrassed when the credits roll.
We should explain that, because nobody knows what we're talking about.
But that self-same sort of confused... well, we'll get into that. But that guy admonishes Chuck for not handling the alligator right, and he's like, next time I'll just do it myself, right? Which is brilliant, because you could almost tell that he was genuinely an alligator wrangler, and he was upset that this celebrity star thought he could do something by holding the mouth closed and getting all of these beauty shots of
Chuck Norris didn't ask him if he could do any of that. He probably just did it.
He just went in and was like, well, I can't front kick the alligator, so let's see. I can grab his mouth. Grr.
Oh, man.
And the alligator wrangler is like, what the fuck are you doing? Cameras are rolling. Play along.
I don't know how to word this better than to say that there is such a satisfying amount of kicking in this movie.
Oh, dude. Yeah. The Rostov, the climactic fight where Rostov goes bouncing over 4 or 5 cubicle desks, getting kicked in the chest, kicked in the face, kicked in the chest again, kicked in the face again. I mean, Chuck doesn't say anything to him the whole time. He just knocks him around.
Not a word.
Oh, God, it's so beautiful.
Or the interrogation scene where he kicks the gargoyle-looking dude in the chest.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Where is he?
Where's Rostov? Because his tone of voice never changes. He's always like the weird, soft-spoken badass.
Well, this is the interesting thing is that... I mean, I don't know how interesting it is, but it does seem that there was an acting technique for a little while where, the tough guy has to talk like this and can't really show a lot of emotions because he's a tough guy. Right?
Yeah, that's Batman. That's straight up Batman.
Well, it was a lot of these guys. They would growl and that sort of thing. So they weren't just beefcake. A lot of these guys, to make you believe that they were actually tougher than they were, would do like this growly voice and right, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what Chuck is doing there with all of that.
Oh man.
I mean, to me,
Bruce Willis in The Last Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
The most gristled anyone has ever been on film.
Yeah, I didn't care for it so much as a character thing, but it does still have bits in it that I liked. But so Invasion USA, back to the movie
Chuck
at hand.
But Chuck doesn't really do like the gravelly voice. He always just kind of has a low, calm voice. You're beginning to irritate me.
You're beginning to irritate me. Well, I think he, in his regular speaking voice, could be a bit nasally. So the less he said, the better. And the more he was like soft-spoken, again, the more you're soft-spoken, the more you look like a tough guy.
Yeah.
Or sound like a tough guy. People think you're a tough guy. You have to lean in. What did he say? And then when you lean in, he front kicks you in the face. So,
I was just looking at the notes that I wrote down because I didn't take real stringent notes.
I love that you took notes, though.
There are multiple times where characters are intentionally shot in the genitals.
Yeah, what was that about?
There's like
early on, there's this bad guy.
I counted at least 2 times where balls are specifically shot.
Yeah, they pull out the gun. The one time he actually pulls the guy's belt open and shoots down his pants.
He shoves his gun in the dude's pants.
That is the worst punishment I have seen in a movie.
Oh, and that's after he bashes the chick's face on her Coke straw.
Oh, dude, that was pretty shocking because that had to have fucking hurt. I mean, obviously he didn't really do it, but it's Chris Nolan had to have seen it and stole it, like you said.
It's the
stole it for the Joker kill.
Yeah, it's the setup for the Joker scene with the pencil. I can
make this pencil disappear. Ta-da!
Yeah, no, like this.
It was the same thing, only with a Coke straw.
Yeah, this lady's just doing blow out of like a 3-inch like brass tube.
Yeah, which was the fashion at the time, so I'm told.
Yeah, and he just smashes her head on the table.
Yeah.
And then shoves his gun in the guy's pants and shoots him right in the dick.
Wow. I mean, so there's this odd sort of, obsession that this bad guy has with shooting people in the
right in the dick.
Yeah. But somehow he never takes aim at Chuck's crotch when they match up to fight.
I mean,
by that time he's using the M16 with the
and I think
grenade
he
launcher.
knows that no projectile that you fire at Chuck
could
Norris's
hit
penis,
Chuck's dick. Yeah, exactly.
It will deflect all incoming damage, regardless of magnitude.
Yeah, because he's a black belt. Don't forget.
If the dick is in danger, the body will engage. It's protective. I don't know where I lost it. I tried.
Yeah, it was a natural, instinctual from his training defense against bullet strikes to the groin. Yeah. He just sucks him up and then front kicks him. Front kicks the bad guy.
There's a pointless jump scare in this movie, too.
Hey, it worked on me, so don't say it was pointless. I was sitting there admiring how the room looked, the decor, as they're just walking through room after room after room, and you're like, okay.
When the government guy shows up at Chuck Norris's shack out in the middle of the Everglades.
The government spook who truly looked spooky. I mean, pale white, big ugly eyes. That was a weird looking dude.
He was a real cracker ass motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sneaks into Chuck Norris's house, and Chuck Norris is wearing, like, almost a fluorescently white shirt.
Well, yes. Uh-huh. But I would also like to point out the Chuck Norris, what would you say, trope, artifice, device that you see in the movies where he's connected to government types, seedy underground types.
Yeah.
If he wants to get some sort of something, he just happens to go to a guy and then stare at them and tell them, do it.
He always seems to know a dude who's hanging out in, like, the skeeziest place in town.
Yeah.
To get him illegal weapons.
And somehow, whoever the person is owes him a favor.
Uh-huh. Because of something they did in South America.
Yeah, exactly. Remember I saved your life that time?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Again, you're bringing this up. Okay.
All right, I know it's not Invasion USA, but yeah, in freaking Missing in Action, he gets an attack raft.
Yeah, he gets it by pointing the gun on the raft at the guy.
Yeah.
And saying, no, $20,000 is too expensive.
Yeah, he holds his arms dealer at gunpoint.
Yeah, I'll give you $5,000 for it. $5,000? What the? Oh, what are you doing with that gun? Why, Braddock, what are you doing with that gun? Oh, he's crazy. He'll do it.
And in this one, he has to drive through the seedy part of town. And you can tell it's bad because there's a black dude playing a saxophone on the side of the road.
Yeah, and there's women in scanty clothes having a little cat fight on the sidewalk. God bless them.
And then further down the road, bikers attack his truck.
Yeah, what was that about? They literally just come out in chains, lead pipe, just start beating the shit out of his truck.
And his expression changes through none of this.
Yeah. Does not change at all. He literally just stares like, oh.
Blank face.
That's peculiar. Oh, that's odd. Women beating each other on the side of the road. Now men with chains beating the shit out of my truck. My windshield's cracked. Huh. I might have to do something about that later. Am I hungry now? You know? I mean, the dude...
He just pulls up at a skeezy bar, assaults the doorman.
See, but, you know, the interesting thing to me about this is this is like a demonstration of sociopathic behavior because they're not engaging, they're not understanding how to, they're not connected to their emotions at all, right?
Yeah.
And then they're just simply seeing how to manipulate these moments, these scenarios of, trying to achieve what is supposed to be presented as a heroic goal. This applies to Missing in Action as well as in Invasion USA.
Yes,
right?
It's seen as any actions that he takes are justified because America.
Yeah. Well, because his ultimate goal is defending the same ideologies that these poor innocent civilians who are having their houses blown up by these crazy radicals and all of this sort of stuff. So he's entirely justified to put twin MAC-10 shoulder rig on and go and shoot up some terrorists and maybe blow up some buildings and crash some cars and throw some grenades.
And destroy an entire mall.
God bless America. You know?
All right.
Yeah.
The terrorist, Rostov, the lead henchman.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
He is the crux of this entire plan. This plan that we're never given any indication as to what their main goals are.
Yeah, you want to talk about a MacGuffin. What is this plan that they're supposed to execute against the United States with this invasion?
Because it is a multinational team.
Yeah.
There are people of all ethnicities fighting alongside each other to invade this, I would say, it's in Miami, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they literally had landing vehicles with soldiers, dozens of soldiers in each landing vehicle, pull up to the beach, unload these soldiers, and these soldiers are maneuvering around the state for
no recognized goal.
Yeah.
The goal becomes to
fulfill Rostov's revenge fetish for...
Yes, and to kick all this off, he decides to take a rocket launcher, which rocket launchers are delightfully littered throughout this film.
Yeah. Well, keep going.
He decides to take this rocket launcher and he blows up an entire fucking block.
Mm-hmm.
It is incredible. There is a fat lady that falls out of her car.
Well, and this is another example of Hollywood not knowing the weapons that they're dealing with, because that particular type of bazooka, it's a Laws rocket, and effectively it was designed that you had the rocket loaded in, you took your shot, you dropped it, you pick up another one, and shot it again. I don't know what the reload rate is on a Laws rocket, right? But typically with bazookas, to expedite a reload, you'd have two people doing it. And he had a second guy with him, but the second guy just kind of
was huddled in the back, or in the back
watching
corner of his
as
truck
this
bed.
guy somehow had multi-shot Laws rocket like a fucking video game where
he blows up at least 6 houses at minimum. I didn't count. But at least 6 homes with people in them. Like
we're
showing
in them.
Children playing in the street beforehand.
Yeah, the first house he blows up is one that we see a whole family. Oh, yeah, hi, Daddy. Are we? They play, and it's the wife, the husband, the son, and the daughter. So it's your typical nuclear family. That's the word.
White Anglo family.
Exactly.
Just minding their own business.
They're the first ones who go down.
And Rostov has the balls to say, they've made it so easy, or something to that effect.
Yeah, they make it so easy. Like, living a civilian life is a terrible thing. Trying to have some modicum of comfort,
and that's
is awful.
And that's, I think, the point where this movie really takes off, because we're essentially giving Chuck license to do whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Because the stakes have risen so high that this crazed maniac is blowing up innocent people in their homes.
Well, clearly he must be stopped by any means. And so he becomes, Chuck becomes obsessed with revenge against Rostov, like Rostov is obsessed with him. So it's really, kind of romantic if you think about it.
Because we haven't mentioned, Chuck had the chance to kill Rostov.
And let him go free. I should have killed you when I had the chance. No, wait. Actually, the line is, you should have let me kill him when I had the chance. And they're like, well, it's too late now. He's doing this. He's free.
And Rostov is so obsessed with Hunter, Chuck Norris's character, that he is having nightmares about him.
Oh, dude, it's so beautiful. He's having nightmares of being kicked in the face by Chuck Norris. And in their confrontation, the first thing Chuck does is kick him in the face 4 times.
Yes.
It's fucking awesome. It's talk
poetry.
about... What is that, when your dream... It's a prescient dream when you see the future in your dream, right? He's actually recognizing this is the first stage of how Chuck is going to beat the shit out of me in our final boss fight.
This will be my downfall.
Yeah, Watch out for the kick in the face.
The leg of justice.
There's no stopping the kick to the chest. You're getting the kick. Yeah.
All right. So they blow up the block, and again, the very next sequence is Chuck going in to interrogate the dude that I don't know what he does. I don't know what purpose he serves in the movie, but he's somehow friends with Rostov.
Excuse me, you mean the guy that he stabs the knife?
Yeah, the dude in the...
Stabs in the hand with the knife.
Yeah, the dude in the, shabby-ass white suit. That's
Where is he? Yeah. Yeah, he's like a weapons supplier or something like that.
Yeah, so Chuck breaks it, or not breaks it. Yeah, pretty much breaks into his hotel room.
Oh, absolutely breaks into his hotel room.
Stabs him in the hand and calmly proceeds to ask, "Where's Rostov?"
He doesn't just stab him in the hand. He does it in front of, there's some girl that this guy is schmoozing, right?
Yeah.
And then he just sets his hand on the table. And Chuck goes, whack, and stabs him, right? And the girl is like, oh my God. And he's like, you can leave. And she goes, ah, and runs out of there. And she runs out of there with a better attitude, as I recall. Like, oh man, this guy is such a loser getting stabbed by Chuck Norris.
I wish they would have just done a Clarence Boddicker. Bitches leave.
Dude, that is one of the all-time best bad guy cinema lines. Seriously, when he's got Miguel Ferrer trapped like that, he just comes in and shot him twice in the knees, and the women are all freaked out. He's like, get out, and they're just, boom. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, such a great bad guy line.
RoboCop is the best.
It is.
But I'm going to be very honest. The one that everybody loves, the first RoboCop, not my favorite.
Yeah, what's your favorite?
3, then 2, then the original
Is that
RoboCop.
them riding in the van?
Yeah.
RoboCop 3 is them.
The one where he gets the jetpack.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the end, he heroically cripples the bad guy by burning his legs with the jetpack to still let an entire skyscraper explode.
Oh, man.
He saves
I
like
need
2
to see
people.
it again. Wow. Awesome.
He fights a ninja robot.
Dude, that's just like...
Shoots him in the face with a grenade.
Dig it.
It rules.
Dig it.
Anyway.
Oh, I'll have to see that. I'll have to see it. Yep. If I did see it... See, I vaguely remember, trying to catch up with the RoboCop sequels, but I also remember not being in the frame of mind to remember them after I watched them.
Yeah. Tom Noonan's in the second one. In the second one where they get RoboCop addicted to drugs. Oh. It's fucking wild.
Now, the second one, that's the one that Frank Miller actually wrote, directed. Is that right? Or is that the third one?
I don't know. No, because Shane Black is in RoboCop 3. It was directed by Fred Decker.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I think...
The guy that did Monster Squad.
Oh, dig it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
But anyway, yeah, in this interrogation, he kicks this just enormous Cuban beefcake in the chest.
Yeah.
Scares the shit out of the, wiry Cuban dude. And then produces a grenade from nowhere.
Yep, just drops the grenade. Or no, ties it to the guy's hand. See, this is the thing that... Okay, there's so many random acts of weirdness in this whole movie that I kind of have to reassemble the scenes. Because he stabs the guy... The girl runs off to get the help, right?
Yeah.
The scrawny guy and the beefcake show up because the scrawny guy was out waxing his car because that was the setup for the scene.
Again, like I said, one of my favorite characters in the whole film is the beefcake guy that just is standing there being muscly,
nothing,
watching the other dude wax the car.
Yep. And what does Chuck do? Kicks him in the chest.
Right in the chest. And knocks him down. And if you watch it in the background, it's like watching a turtle try and get up.
Oh, yeah.
He's kind of stuck on the ground for a minute.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, he pulls a fucking grenade out, pulls the pin, puts it in the,
in the guy's hand.
Yeah, in the guy with his hand stabbed to the table and said, if you live through this, tell Rostov, it's time to die.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then he tells Rostov and then he tosses the grenade out the window and blows up the car.
Well, the guy, even though his hand is stabbed to the table, is able to keep his senses enough to say, there's an open window, let me get rid of this grenade, right? Instead of just freaking out in fear and maybe dropping the grenade or forgetting that there's an open... The guy actually... So I give him credit for that, right? Yeah. And then you get the punchline that the grenade gets into the car that scrawny guy had been waxing so diligently. So much love and affection.
He was really getting after it.
Yeah, fuck that car. Grenade.
Boom! It's probably named Lucille or something.
Oh, yeah. He named it. Yeah. Yes. Amaranth after my mother. Or something like that. Right?
Sure, man.
Adelaide.
But then that leads into our second ball shot, is because he goes off and tells Rostov, Hunter said, it's time to die, and then emphasizes it by spitting into his face.
Spits in his face, So Rostov literally pulls out a gun from... Did Rostov have it or take it from the bodyguard?
I think it was just like in his waistband.
So he pulls it out, shoots him
in the balls
like 4 times, and in between shots, he spits in the guy's face as the guy is going down. So they spit on each other, which, you know, again, was really a romantic gesture that you see in this movie between 2 men. It's delightful. You know.
International sex icon Rostov.
So Rostov kills that guy by shooting him in the balls.
Yeah.
And we have even more reason to hate him, because what kind of despicable bastard would kill a man by shooting him in the balls?
But what kind of despicable bastard, Brad, would attack a mall at Christmas time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was mortified to my foundations as an American.
Shaken to the core.
As a patriot, to see Santa dismantled
defiled by
these vehicles,
disgusting,
with absolutely no respect for tradition or Christmas or shopping or the U.S. economy.
You know what? We shouldn't have to give in our way of life because of these motherfuckers.
Yeah,
coming over here thinking they can just do whatever they want. So you know what? You know what Chuck's gonna do?
He's gonna pull out twin Mag 10s.
He's gonna drive his goddamn truck through the front doors of the mall.
He's gonna do exactly the same thing these fucking terrorists are doing, and drive through the mall and cause massive property damage.
Massive property damage.
Terrorizing civilians who were just trying to shop and get last-minute Christmas presents for Timmy. You know. No, fuck Timmy at Christmas time.
We forgot to explain how the mall came about. Because the skinny man that was previously in a banana hammock poolside drops his bag, and a fellow civilian chases him down trying to return his merchandise.
Right, an absolute steal.
While this man is being pursued by police, he is still trailing behind. Mister, you forgot your bags!
Hey, Mister, your bag! Mister, hey!
This shows the good, honest nature of good, hard-working Americans.
You know what's funny? It just occurred to me they did not give him the line, I don't understand why he's not paying attention. This is so strange. Hey, mister, is he deaf? I don't know sign language, but is there some other way I can... Oh, there's a policeman. I'll just follow the policeman.
What is happening right now? What are you doing?
I'm doing the inner monologue of that character going, hey, mister, hey, mister, hey, mister. You know?
Right, sure.
So I'm just saying there were other opportunities for dialogue they could have used in addition to "Hey, Mister" to add some depth and clarity to his character and his intentions.
So, after firing wildly and dismantling several of the terrorists,
yes, God bless them.
A few of them steal the show truck, the truck in the mall for like the
They hotwire it.
Yep.
They have a guy with glasses,
yep,
and because he has glasses, he naturally knows how to hotwire trucks.
Yeah, it's like the prize for a raffle or something in the mall.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so they hotwire this very clearly noted Nissan truck.
Yes, product placement, well done. I mean, in the 80s, they were pioneering everything, dude.
And they charge at Chuck Norris. Now... Any ordinary man would just jump out of the way and save himself. But
right,
no.
they'd do a diving roll.
No, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Norris clings to the side of this rampaging truck.
Deliberately jumps towards the passenger side. Because remember, this is such a high-tech, specialized, cool truck that it's got rails on it. So he actually has something to stand on the side.
He's got a good foothold, but he is being...
That's the word. He's got a foothold.
He is being slammed into pillars as they are just rampaging like a bull through a china shop. And
not just pillars, Christmas displays. Christmas houses and lights are exploding. Candy canes are just getting smashed against his back. It's terrible for our prestige and culture and holiday.
And if you pay attention, you'll notice
These fucking terrorists.
He doesn't do anything. He just grabs onto the truck and rides.
Uh-huh. Well, his face does change expression a little bit because he grits his teeth while this stuff is happening. He goes, "Argh!"
Yes.
He doesn't even make that sound, though. I mean, that was my emphasis. It's only his face that kind of changes expression a little bit.
So after they finally make it outside, he heroically jumps from the moving truck as they slam into another stationary car, fire wildly at security. Oh, and this is right at the time.
Immediately.
This is right about the time that the reporter shows up.
Yes, in her convertible car, which is easy to jump into and steal, which is what Chuck tries to do.
It does immediately, in fact.
Yeah. And she says, "Oh, wait, no, you don't, mister." And she hops in the back seat with her Nikon camera, saying, "I'm a reporter, and I'm going to chase this story with you, you mad patriotic hero with your glistening beard.
You sex vortex, you." But meanwhile,
I will allow you to drive my car without concern.
These sons of bitches, Brad.
Yes.
These sons of bitches have grabbed a woman by the hair.
Oh, man. Honestly,
right.
this woman
stunt.
This woman deserves an Oscar, and I'll tell you what, if there's ever arguments, and there always should be, the Academy Award should be recognizing stunt performers. Now, this woman, oh my God. I mentioned the foothold thing on the truck. Mm-hmm. They had her clinging to that and probably a safety harness that was run into the truck where the guy had his arm holding her around the waist.
Yes.
So the safety harness, this guy's arm, and her own muscles were the only thing holding her onto this truck while they're doing fucking jumps and crashes into other debris. And
the car that Chuck is driving slams into the back end of it. Like, it's maybe
I couldn't believe it.
A foot away from, like, it would have crushed her leg had something gone wrong.
As
much shit as we're giving this movie, this is an incredible stunt.
Yeah.
It's fucking outstanding.
Yeah, this is one of those stunts that makes you go, you know what, Fast and Furious, okay, cute, fuck off, look at this. This is just insane. This woman did this over at least a half a mile of different type of obstacles.
Because they are
city blocks.
Yeah, they're not putting along. They are fucking hauling dick.
Yeah, when they do that jump has got to be at least 35, 45 miles an hour.
Uh-huh.
And she's clinging to the outside of a truck.
And then jumps from that truck to the moving vehicle that Chuck is driving
into the back of the convertible
of the reporter who has
because
no idea what she's doing.
Chuck just says, "Grab her." Yeah. Right? And the reporter's like, "Do what? Oh my gosh. Well,
we got into a whole thing about, all right, look at it from the perspective.
She's completely unfazed.
Look at it through the perspective of this reporter. She heard that there was a kerfuffle at the mall.
Yeah.
And being an investigative reporter...
What's going on at the mall?
Shows up literally to work.
Yeah.
Where Chuck Norris absconds with her and her vehicle.
Yeah.
And then demands of her to catch a woman who is being dragged outside of a truck by a terrorist organization.
Yeah. And she does it. She grabs the woman... They get her into the back seat of the car safely, right? Which, again, astonishing, great stunt, you know. And the reporter is unfazed. Like, this is part of her job, you know. Yeah. She's perfectly comfortable with yanking women off the sides of trucks at, you know, speed, done, streets.
So after they get her in the car, they start bumping vehicles a little bit more, and Chuck Norris throws a grenade into their truck.
He says, "I think you dropped this."
Oh no, that's the
timer.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
No, he drops the grenade into their truck and they see it and careen out of control in front of a Little League game and explode into a row of cars.
Yes.
Man, it fucking rules.
So beautiful. So beautiful. I mean, again, authentic explosion, real cars, real property damage.
Yeah.
It doesn't get better than that.
No.
That's the beauty of it, you know?
Just,
those are the things that I wanted to do out there, you know, with Nick and everything.
Because, man, there are so many stupid parts of this movie that you can call out and be like, oh, that's dumb, that's dumb. But, man, this is when movies were fun. I was not bored.
Exactly.
After the last 20 minutes, I was not bored for a second of
Exactly.
this.
See, I think a lot of people who criticize story or plot holes or elements like this forget that the purpose of the movie is not to tell a rational story.
No.
The purpose of the movie...
Chuck Norris being a one-man army in an American city.
The purpose is to give you some righteous kills, some beautiful explosions, maybe some boobs, depending on what the actress is willing to do and what the story is.
Oh, if it's a Chuck Norris movie, there will be boobs.
Depending. I mean, we did see some in this one, too. God bless them. So,
should we tell the missing in action tit story?
Oh, well, feel free. Go ahead.
Well, all right. To make a short story long, Chuck Norris sneaks out of his hotel room, murders a man in his sleep, and to cover up the international incident that he just started, he walks back into this hotel room, rips the woman's clothes off, and throws her in the bed to effectively... He sexually assaults this woman to cover up.
Breaks into this woman's hotel room through the balcony. She's like, oh, you're back. Because he had exited through her balcony and she decided to change into a sexy lingerie on the in-between.
Yeah.
So when he comes back, she's like, oh, you're back. And he doesn't say anything to her, jumps at her, and then they do this cut.
He literally rips her clothes off.
Yes, exactly. And from the side boob, you can say that's not the same side boob as this main actress has. It's very clearly a curvature and shape that's different. Even the nipple.
I just hear Brad yell, that's not the same titty. Yeah, we tried to make it sound smarter than it was. But to be fair, it was just a grown man shouting at another grown man, hey, that's not the same titty. In a 1984 Chuck Norris flick.
If I learned anything from Playboy, it's how to identify
a goddamn titty.
How to identify, yes. Mm-hmm. So anyway, yeah. So Invasion USA didn't have any of those moments, though.
No, there were no sexual assaults.
No, thank God. But women dancing in nightclubs, which is always the cheap and easy way for a movie to have nudity in it. Just do a scene in a strip club, boom, done, out. You can sell to international markets now.
Yeah. So I really like also that not only have these terrorists attacked all the other institutions of American values, then they attack a church.
Oh, you know what? Actually, yes. I'm glad that you put it like that because I was thinking just now of the school bus, which happens after the church.
Yes.
And what you're talking about with structure is absolutely true. I didn't recognize it.
Yes, they are trying to offend every moral American sensibility.
Piece by piece, they get their own individual scene.
Yes.
Yeah, and first it's Christmas shopping mall. Oh no, first it's just in your own neighborhood. This could happen to you.
Yeah.
A truck pulls up and a guy with a Laws rocket that fires.
And before that, it was the couple fucking on the beach.
And that was the actual physical invasion landing. So
and the Cubans having the street party where the fake police show up. They are starting small and then slowly building righteous indignation toward these villains.
Yes. Yeah.
Structurally is very smart, but yeah.
I think the party was after the invasion, wasn't it?
The what?
Yeah.
But I'm saying that they're building a slow progression.
Well, yes, and let's remember the one identifying characteristic in all of these events. They wear the same mirrored sunglasses.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You know the bad guys because they have mirrored sunglasses.
Yeah, you clock that immediately.
Hell, it was...
It's like, nope, that's the bad guy. He's right there.
Well,
He's got sunglasses.
I got fooled. You didn't. You called it with the cops
police
who walked up on the car and shot everybody in the car.
Yeah, all right, we're not doing the bit that you did on the show. Absolutely not.
What, the inner monologue? No, that was... Well, anyway.
No.
So getting back to where we were then in the story. So, they've done the shopping mall. They attacked the church, right?
Yes.
So now it's the church.
Yes.
There's no big sermon or anything, but we still recognize it's an assault on our religious foundation, those bastards.
And we are given one specific family to see this entire event through their lens. Because we're shown the family walking in and knocking on the door, walking into church. They're specifically shown singing the hymns.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can identify with the children again and the righteous commitment to our ideology.
But what that
faith.
also does is it draws the broad scope of, oh, he's destroying an entire neighborhood, to now thematically they're making it a singular focus, which is making it almost feel more personal. Because faith is considered to be a personal thing. So they're using that to intensify these evil deeds of these terrorists.
Yes.
Who are setting up a Looney Tunes style bomb on the fucking church steps.
Well, I
think clocked this immediately. They did a fucking Looney Tunes.
I think that's why I forgot about it until you brought it up, because it was just so silly. It was like, wait a minute. You're not even... Okay, so they set the bomb on the door that's at the front of the church. Everybody's singing, so they're not noticing the sound of anybody doing anything by the front door.
And he is in broad daylight, suitcase open with what is clearly a bomb.
Yeah, wires sticking out and everything.
And then unspools, like we said, a fucking Wile E. Coyote-esque.
Yeah. It's the plunger cable, the charge for it to go off, the signal wires. But even more so with that is the rectangular bomb that they have. They set it on the first stair instead of next to the actual door that they're trying to blow open.
Yeah.
So the bomb is going to go off literally on the stairs below the door that they're trying to blast open. They're not. The bomb isn't even placed right, and you're like, what? Now hold on a second here. What kind of terrorists are these guys?
It doesn't make a lick of sense.
None. You're sitting there and you're like, okay, hold on. What is... But, then again, we're adult people watching the movie instead of, some 12-year-old getting wrapped into some sort of something.
And then the guy unspooling the wire gets back to his cohorts and flips on the device and presses the button, and wouldn't you know it, nothing happens.
It's not working. What?
My God.
How strange. What?
And then rising like a phoenix.
Dun, dun, dun.
Chuck Norris.
Backlit beautifully. He says, now it'll work. And
I think that is the line.
Connects the two little wires. They even have a nice little bit right there, so you know that the signal. And they all go, oh my God. Oh, sorry, we skipped the important part where after his beauty pose, he drops the bomb down on them.
Yeah, he drops the suitcase on them.
Yeah, because somehow he has stealthed out onto the field, stealthed up into the stairs, up to the church door, while they've been frolicking with their cables and all of that, and they have never figured this out. He's come back around, climbed over the building behind, gotten looped around, done all of that in the time for them to sit there.
Up to the roof.
Yeah, so that he could position the backlight and make sure that he was silhouetted appropriately as he stepped forward into the street light and got his face glistening, bronzed.
To drop their own bomb on them, say, it'll work now.
Yeah. And go.
Which, okay, if that was supposed to blow up a church, that would have murdered him immediately, because the structural integrity of that building would have been severely compromised, killing him immediately.
The blast of how it takes out all of those guys. You'd think what you're talking about would have happened automatically, and Chuck would have slid right down into all of that, being dropped from whatever little roof
he
got blasted out from under
jelly
him.
Mixed with rubble.
Yeah, but it's the 80s, and that's Chuck Norris, so that didn't happen. Hell no, not even a consideration, man. Okay, so
he watches TV like a real man too.
Oh yeah, the way he sits in the hotel. It was almost like a Playgirl photo shoot,
Yeah, he's just sitting bare-chested with his vest on still.
Well,
just glistening.
What I loved too was he was watching Plan 9 from outer space, right? So
because there's no royalties for Plan 9,
But you'd think some sort of manly man like that would be watching, like how to
bridge
build
over the River Kwai.
Yeah, or how to build your cabin, or that kind of thing.
Or
Something
just hardcore pornography.
Yeah, or guns. Just a show
guns.
That's just about guns, dismantling and putting them back together, watching them fire. Do you remember that? Do you remember that video series with chicks and guns?
No.
Oh, dude. It was so lovely. Simple idea. Just chicks in bikinis.
Just
with
tits and guns.
With contemporary automatic weapons. So they'd be firing and shaking while they're shooting at these targets. And you're kind of watching the action of the gun.
Is this a fucking, man show skit?
No, it's not. It was a series. They had 20 or 30 of them. Different bikinis, different style, All, of course, very patriotic in one way or another. Oh, dude, it was the best.
So Chuck's watching Plan 9 from outer space, and wouldn't you know it, the feds burst in.
And he doesn't move an inch. He's not surprised. His expression
doesn't change.
Yeah, his expression doesn't. He doesn't even go. Arr. He's just completely unimpressed that this pale spook with the big weird eyes has showed up again.
No, it's the older gray-haired guy.
This
the guy
is
that we clocked in the beginning. It was it's that guy. He's in everything. Couldn't tell you his name or what else he's been in, but
oh, I fucking love that guy.
So he barges into this room with a full military escort.
That's
and
right.
His first line is, "I don't know who you are."
No, he says, "We got you."
Yeah, we got you. I don't know
who
you
says,
are.
Yeah.
Or who you think you are. Man, you just showed up to a specific hotel room to hunt down a specific man for a specific reason.
Yeah.
You know exactly who he is. What
you
are you talking
did not
about?
just do it yourself. You rousted an entire SWAT team, including guys to rappel down the side of the building and crash through the window of the hotel room he is in.
There was 40
You
dudes.
know who this fucking guy is, right? You know what he carries. You know what his cologne is. All of that stuff. You wouldn't just... So, anyway, but that's why I love these movies, because, Chuck has to have this mystery. His patented black suit and black gloves, even though his face is entirely exposed and you can see who he is.
Cat burglar Norris.
Yeah, exactly. And it's who robbed the place? Well, I don't know. He was in an all-black suit, but he had a beard and he was about 5'3" with hazel eyes.
Like that episode of The Simpsons where it was the cat burglar that wore sneakers.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, dude. You're okay.
It's so good.
Okay. All right. So, where were we? The church has happened.
Right after he gets arrested, he gets arrested. He is being escorted to jail with his shirt. He's handcuffed somehow to two men with his hands freely available.
Okay, this is what they did, which was incredible to see. It's probably the best sort of example of Hollywood vanity that you'll see with the perp walk. Mm-hmm. Because what they did was he had chains that were on his ankles with the one that came up from his legs to his hips.
Yeah,
right?
like shackles.
Then he had the hip chain. So it wasn't a belt, right? Yeah. But he had a hip chain, and on either side of his hip was another shorter chain that went to handcuffs. So he could walk with his hands freely,
swinging his arms,
a good 5-6 inches of free movement, and more if he chose to use that martial arts ability of his, right? And he's just walking along in these little dainty chains with his shirt open,
wide open, chest exposed,
gleaming, looking beautiful. People are
Yes.
like, my God, what a gorgeous criminal.
and he is very nicely stopped to flirt with the reporter.
He gets a full interview. What would you like to say to Rostov, the bad guy?
Yeah.
And he just goes into his whole monologue. He's like, what does he say?
Like, I'm coming for you. That's the gist of it.
It's your turn.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm going to jail. Do something to bust me out of here so we can keep fighting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what his plan
And
is to get out of jail.
Rostov loses his goddamn mind.
Yeah, I mean,
That he was taunted on television.
yeah, you can't even compare this to Moby Dick because, you know...
Nobody
didn't
has
have-
ever compared this to Moby Dick.
Dude,
Brad.
I'm just talking about
What
the obsession...
What the fuck are you talking
The
about?
obsession that Rostov has over Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris is Rostov's Moby Dick, right? The great white whale, the
All
guy
right.
he's obsessed over, right? But Rostov
right.
is even worse than that, thank you. But Rostov is even worse than that because the second that Chuck says, it's your turn, even though he's arrested, he's in jail, he's stuck, he's trapped, he's fucked, and all Rostov has to do is maybe hire some goon in jail to just shank him in his sleep, right? That's all he's got to do. He loses his mind, trashes a hotel room like he's a rock
He could
star.
just wait for him to have a court date and shoot him in the head.
Yeah, exactly.
But instead...
so many options, right?
But instead, they decide to haul ass into the police station, effectively breaking him out of jail.
They do a full-on assault on the police station. Crazy.
It's ridiculous.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful,
It's
dude.
so good.
Yeah, They come in just, man. And then they go, wait a minute, it's a trap, right? This is the trap bit.
Oh, yeah, it's somewhere in there. I didn't take diligent notes. I was too busy enjoying this masterpiece.
So if I get it correctly, they do the perp walk in those flimsy, gorgeous chains, right? So that there can be the news announcement to spur Rostov to get all his men together and do the police assault. When they get there, nobody is there, and Rostov goes, "It's a trap," and they all start to try to escape, and then the U.S. military, all sorts of tanks and helicopters and all of this are outside the building, and now all the bad guys that Rostov was supposed to use for whatever this...
Oh, we skipped the entire school bus scene.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, because...
Oh my God.
that's the
See, this is
result
why
of
I
his
need you
plan.
here, Chris. This is why I need you here to keep track of these things.
Because...
I was ready to wrap up the whole damn movie.
Because after he thwarts the villains at the church, all the children are put on a bus inexplicably and separated from their parents and
Well,
takes
now-
off down the road. But the bad guys
Yeah.
have strapped a bomb to a bus full of children. Again, attacking our very way of life.
Yes,
now
our American
they are
foundation.
attacking
Our
children.
future. Our future. Yep. Exactly.
Not today, bad guys, because
No.
Chuck's on the case.
Yeah. Somehow in his truck, he knows which school bus, where it is, what highway exit.
And he decides to pursue it after getting stuck in very light traffic.
Right. Now, at this point, the kids are on the bus, if I remember correctly, because it's gotten around that there's been a landing of terrorists and, the houses have been shot up by the Magic Laws rocket.
Yes.
And
Leaflets have been dropped from the skies.
so the thought is we will save our future progeny by getting them out of town while Chuck Norris handles this terrorist incident.
Yeah.
So they put them all on the bus.
Handle this.
Yeah. So they put them all on the bus, and then the terrorists are like, "Oh, children on a bus! Ha ha ha! Fish in a barrel! Let's go get them!"
Mm-hmm.
And Chuck again, no idea how he knows this. No idea, where he got the information to chip in and, do his bit. But he does, and the bomb that the terrorists put on the side of the bus.
Yeah, on the side of the bus.
They attach it like a sticky bomb from Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
They just...
Not under the bus, not even like in the engine block. Nope,
Yeah.
right on the side.
Yep, right, easy to see, so Chuck doesn't have to worry about that.
Nope.
There's just the timer, which... The timer was moving fast, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it was set for like 180 seconds, and it'd go 180, 179, 178, 177, 176, 170. Like,
yeah,
it started
it picked
going
up
down
speed.
Abnormally fast.
Yeah, because when it got to like the 30-second mark and he was moving, he had it, and now he was gonna go.
Oh, there was less than 30. I thought it was like 13 seconds left.
But it was moving faster than seconds actually move.
Exactly.
So you're like, wait a minute. If it says 30, but it's moving that fast, it's got to be more like 24, 25. Wait, and then you get confused in the math, and it blows up in your face.
Right.
Thank God Chuck didn't worry about math. He just had terrorists to kill.
Nope. So. Through sheer tyranny of will, he slows down time to catch up to these terrorists. He happened to know exactly what car they were driving and which terrorist it was.
Exactly.
Pulls up alongside them and somehow out of his passenger side window yells to them, "I think you forgot this."
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Throws it in
perfectly. No trouble with like
really
edge of the window or
really
window.
retreading the whole grenade thing from earlier.
But to their credit, I will.
To their credit, it was bitchin'.
Exactly. I am just about to say that it's like a nice within their own movie topping their own stunts.
Yeah.
Saying, "Oh, you like that grenade one? Tell you,
You
what.
thought that was some shit?
Yeah.
Let's
you know
show you
what?
some shit.
We're gonna pay off this kid thing. Don't worry about these kids. Remember that grenade bit here? Baboosh! Ah, pretty lovely explosions and fire, and actual no CGI pyrotechnics. Just beautiful.
So the bad guys have holed themselves up inside of like an office building.
Yes.
Which they run into and shoot wildly at nothing.
Oh, man.
For about 3 or 4 minutes.
It's one of the most beautiful scenes. I mean, it's like...
While a bloodbath is taking place on the streets outside.
Yeah.
But that office building and the interior shots is eerily quiet.
Strange. This is peculiar.
When there is a literal war zone happening 30 yards from them.
Exactly.
So, yes. But yes, they are kicking in doors, shooting up entire walls, entire office. Yeah,
that's why that scene. I mean, it's such a great scene
nuts.
Because it's literally just we need to show rampant terrorism. We need to show how crazy these guys are, so you get the idea of how dangerous they are. So we're gonna have them walk through empty rooms and just shoot guns off wherever, anything, doesn't matter.
Like absolute madmen.
Yeah, exactly. So there's you have no targets, just keep shooting. It doesn't matter. Just, make it look pretty, boys. That's all it is, They're just out there and I mean, it's literally dozens of guys who are like bunched together as they move through these rooms. It's not like, pretty clear, like they... No.
They're kicking indoors and shooting up a room without paying attention to what is in them whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God,
they're not checking behind desks.
There's no tactics.
They just spray bullets at waist level and move on.
I will say that it's another example, though, in the progression of movies in terms of how they predict violence because, later on you really start seeing tactics and the necessity of using, different squads and things like that and covering each other simply because audiences were like, you got 40 guys with guns just stumbling over each other.
Yeah.
They got tired of seeing
that
that
those guys
sort of
in
thing.
the back would have shot the other fucking 60 dudes in front of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them were like literally holding their guns up over their heads just so that they could get the flare on camera.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway.
And that's one thing that we both just kind of marveled at, though, is in the climax of this film, it is a full-on war zone.
Yeah.
And in 1986, that's not CGI. That is happening.
They literally closed down blocks on city streets, like, you know, intersections, not just one or two straight lines, straight blocks, you know, like an open airfield or something like that. No, those were city blocks, and they had barricades and tanks and helicopters and all sorts of shit going off in there.
Yeah. Like the part where the tank just rams a van. For no good reason except for, hey
it
man,
looked so
it was
damn
rad.
cool. It looked so cool. It just shredded that van, you know? And the beauty is, you know, they did it for real. There's no computer graphics. There's no question about, oh, well, you know.
So Chuck Norris pops into this office building with his twin Mac 10s.
Somehow magically appears again on the scene, able to get through all of the barricades, no problem, right where he needs to be.
Man, he just rampages through these guys. They are just bullet fodder for Chuck Norris and his dual Mac 10s, which is one of the funniest images I've ever seen. It's him firing wildly with a completely blank expression.
Yeah,
It's
and
fantastic.
He's literally just waving these things. Like, it's not even like a Wingardium Leviosa. He's just like, wah! Yeah. Guns going off.
Just going fucking bananas.
Just emptying whatever's in the magazine. Down it goes. You know, it looks great on camera. And all of the stunt guys are falling the way they should. So, who cares?
But my God, he's got to put his babies down. Because them Mac 10s are out of bullets.
Well, yeah. And, you know, we know he's lethal with his hands. He's got his black gloves on, which are his work gloves.
Yes.
You know. So that becomes the question is...
That's his commie whooping gloves.
Yeah. So is that how Rostov is going to get it? A nice, good, old-fashioned American beatdown?
Because I very incorrectly predicted. I was like, oh, he doesn't need guns to take Rostov the fuck out.
Because he's got these guns right here, baby. But then he
just grabs an errant M16 that happens to have a
grenade launcher
with grenades in it.
Yeah.
And wanders through one door, sees nothing, while never moving his eyes around the room once.
And allow me to praise your observation that the gun, even though it is a single-fire grenade launcher, he had multiple grenades available with that weapon to use when the time came, because this is glorious Hollywood. And somehow, not only was the gun magically there, but all of the ammunition he would need for the next 3 or 4 years.
Because he gets into the first room, nothing there. So he approaches the second door, and he's got a bad feeling about that door, Brad.
Dun, dun.
He's got a bad feeling about it. And meanwhile, behind... 2 of those dirty commie bastards just waiting for him to burst through that door.
Yeah, 2 commies who we recognize from before, so we know they're bad guys. These guys are definitely bad guys.
So instead of continuing to hide behind the wall, they get out in front of the door.
Yeah, they're ready to shoot at Chuck through the door. They know he's on the other side, so they're not even going to open the door.
And then somehow... through what must
Chuck
be
magic,
literal divine intervention, he somehow shoots 2 grenades into each side of the door.
Yeah. This is the beauty. Not only is it a single shot grenade that somehow is able to, it's like the single round that fired out split perfectly to hit evenly on either side of the door, to have a perfect, identical, symmetrical blast pattern.
Yes.
So you had the door and then 2 open spaces, just the same size of the door. You couldn't have planned a better thing unless you were a special effects expert.
Man, and it's wonderful because the way that he fires it, there is no conceivable way.
Yeah.
Because he just swings it in a very broad sweeping motion.
Well, after he shoots it, after he does that double shot, he basically just throws it down and keeps going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he
So
just
it's
gets
like-
rid of his fucking weapon.
It's like, well, wait a minute, man. That was a magical two for
Oh,
one shot.
but he's got that fucking knife in his back because one of
Right.
the dudes isn't dead.
Right.
And gets up to shoot at him, and without looking, he fucking
Backward throws.
Jason Williams from the goddamn Sacramento Kings just whips this knife into his chest, and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah, because the guy is on the ground, on the floor. So, he was face down on the floor, so he actually has to lean up his chest to make it open and available target for Chuck to hit this knife in his heart.
Like
and
a
this incredible
fucking missile.
Yeah, yeah, like a missile fired by
a goddamn
an
rocket,
Olympian.
like a rocket of justice.
Ah, God, Chuck Norris. Yes,
Oh.
a dagger of justice to this terrorist criminal's heart who was laying on the floor, who had the gall to point a gun at Chuck again. So he goes down.
He
Boom.
finds Rostov, and they engage in a fight.
Oh, now they face off, right? Where Rostov is like, kind of looks, and he's like, oh, shit, and brings up his hands like, okay, we're gonna do an actual physical one-on-one. Okay, here we go.
Yep, and Chuck stands with his arms at his sides.
Says nothing. Face never changes expression.
Nope, and just whoops the shit out of it.
Front kick. Not only does he kick the guy,
He kicks him like 6 times. He kicks him over cubicles.
furniture, kicks him over desks, through cubicle walls.
Man.
Rostov has no freaking chance. He literally gets kicked into unconsciousness and falls flat on his face on a desktop, right?
Yeah, well, he gets kicked, onto a desk, which he falls off, and then Chuck kicks him through over another cubicle. He lands on the floor and stands up, and Chuck's gone.
Right.
Which makes not a lick of fucking sense.
Well, see, now I took it there that Rostov got kicked into unconsciousness and, was senseless for, 30 seconds or so. So he's
Because,
like,
man,
oh my God. And so
he gets kicked really hard in the face multiple times.
he gets hard enough, that you'd think, okay, concussion,
He would have
probably.
had inflammation of the brainstem from
Yeah.
how hard his neck would have
His
snapped
brain
back.
is swelling, literally, as he's trying to get his head together and wonder where Chuck is. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Chuck disappears, and Rostov gets to his feet. And he starts looking around like, okay, where's Chuck? I'm gonna kill Chuck, And he gets a gun again. He gets the M16 with the. I thought it was a shotgun mount, but it might have still been the rocket launcher. It was probably the grenade launcher mount underneath the M16.
Yeah, it looked very similar to the
Yeah.
gun that Chuck had.
So whatever it was similar to what Chuck has, and he uses this. He starts doing my favorite thing, which is shooting up every fucking thing. Doesn't matter if there's anything in the room or not.
Yep, just shooting at ghosts.
Just wasting that ammo. Somewhere Chuck's around, and some bullet's gonna find him. He's just got to keep throwing those bullets,
So, I forget how he loses that gun, because that's not the gun that he
Chuck
has.
takes it from him.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was very engrossed in this movie, but parts of it just really washed over me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, is that when Chuck lurched out of the shadows on the roof?
Yeah. Where did Chuck go?
Yeah.
He suddenly just magically appeared. Chuck warps over
To the roof.
Yeah. And
He's standing behind, the chimney, and he emerges from the shadows.
Yeah,
Like a
and you're
goddamn vampire.
You're like, wait, what? Huh? And Rostov naturally is like us, the audience. How the fuck did you do that?
Where the hell did you come from?
And then, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so he somehow gets the gun away from him, and then Rostov is just wandering around the halls again? Because he picks up the fucking rocket launcher.
Well, I think that's what it is he jumps from the roof. They have a little squabble. he gets the gun away from Rostov, and he's like, when he takes the gun away from him, that gives Rostov time to get a couple steps away. Because, I mean, Rostov picks up that, like it was just, waiting for him there.
It was like a beacon.
Yeah, he literally only goes like maybe 4 or 5 steps, and then he's like, oh, here's my precious, magical rocket launcher.
Yeah, and we should note that they're standing in a hallway at this point.
In a hallway, that's right. They're inside. When he picks up his magical rocket launcher to fire at Chuck Norris and blow both of them to kingdom come.
Yep. So Chuck Norris also emerges with a rocket launcher. He just walks into the hallway also holding a rocket launcher.
That was the best.
They have a rocket launcher duel.
Yeah. See, now, the best
My
of it
fucking
is,
God, man.
Rostov pulls up this is why the screenplay writing is so brilliant, and I think you should respect it more, Chris. Is because
screenplay credit by Chuck Norris.
Yes,
by the way.
Yes, exactly. And his brother Aaron was also a co-producer on the movie.
Yeah.
So, nepotism galore. God bless him. But here's why that is so brilliant. Rostov magically finds his Magical Laws rocket launcher. That had been established in the script. We knew immediately what that was when we saw it, because he'd blown up the houses and everything.
He's shot a lot of rockets in this movie.
So, and
he's shooting rockets in the flashback too.
When he was using his magic rocket launcher, he was shooting at the very foundations of our United States citizens and culture and ideology, everything, right?
Yeah.
So, and we see him in his last stand with his most hated weapon, and then here's Chuck.
Man, it's like he was just pissing directly into Ronald Reagan's face.
That motherfucker. And here's Chuck to say, oh, no, you don't, because I have a Magical Laws rocket, too. You had no idea that I had it because I'm Chuck Norris. But right now...
Guess what, motherfucker?
And he's got the actual, you have to pull... the clip
extension
and extend it out to activate the Laws rocket, and he's got plenty of time to do this because he's doing it all in slow-mo while Rostov is just watching him stunned. And
because Rostov has his back to him,
and he turns around
to fire at Chuck.
And by the time they've locked eyes and had their last nonverbal communication of their love for each other, Chuck fires from the hip.
In an almost Shakespearean tragedy.
Chuck kills his inner brother by firing from the hip his Laws rocket
from like 6 feet away.
And splattering Rostov into flaming oblivion. Blows out the wall of the apartment building, blows out the window, blows out all of these pieces and shards and fire.
Yes, he has turned Rostov into a mist.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Rostov. Oh, man. I'm trying to make a bad pun in my head. Rostov went blast off. Blast off on Rostov. Something.
You could try like a Jamaican accent.
Oh, God. No.
Blast off on Rostov.
Blast off on Rostov.
Oh, man. We shouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's not working at all.
Yeah, that is
But there's something there. Rostov gets blown up.
He blows Rostov into another dimension.
Yeah.
And the fucking credits roll.
Yes. Oh.
No conclusion. Nothing. Just.
A Golden Globus production, ladies and gentlemen. The Canon Group, Golden Globus.
It is perfect.
Yes. Bad guy's dead. And another interesting...
It was already established that he was the one who was holding it all together.
Well, yeah.
In the scene where the guy pretty much might as well have just sucked his dick.
Well, they had already obliterated his entire army. Remember? So that aspect of it, there's no cleanup to do after. The cleanup is to kill the big bad boss, which is what Chuck was there for. And I also note with Invasion USA, unlike even Missing in Action, there's no hint of a girlfriend. There's no hint of a romantic interest.
Like you say, he flirts mildly with the reporter, but it's
flirts mildly with the reporter,
but it's never aggressive.
And she, They don't take each other seriously. There's not even a, oh, hey, maybe I'll buy you a drink later sometime. They just sort of make goofy sort of...
She throws a trash can lid at him.
Yeah, that's what she ends up doing. Yelling at him, you know, all of that stuff. And it's fun and it's quirky and everything. So at the end of Invasion USA, there's no damsel in distress to save. There's no, oh, I was so worried about you. He doesn't go home to his family with Christmas presents and reunite with them and have a happy ending, which you would have in a movie now.
He's not retrieving his daughter. He doesn't go on to do anything else.
No,
just roll fucking credits. Done.
All the hero does is kill the bad guy. That's all you need to know. Credits roll. Boom. Done. Bad guy's dead. Chuck wins.
So,
front kick to the face.
He's going to be in front of a congressional hearing after this, like, almost immediately, right?
Well, you know, in what would be called the real world, yeah.
Because we forgot to mention that after he saves the kids on the school bus, he's walking through, it's a hard cut to a county fair.
That was the weirdest fucking thing.
That has been just absolutely decimated.
Yeah.
And the government man shows up and he says, you know, it was real good on you for saving those kids.
Yeah.
And Chuck gets real indignant and says, well, what about these kids?
Look at these kids. I couldn't save them.
And hands the man from the government
a list.
A pre-prepared statement.
Yeah.
And requests for what he would need as far as a official military backup.
He straight tells the guy, this is a list of things that I need. It's going to be really hard for you to do, but you need to do it. You need to get it done.
Because the guy from the government says something like, you know how much coordination this is going to take?
This is impossible. I can't do this, Chuck. This is crazy. This isn't the resources.
And think of the risk.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Think of the risk.
And then, you got to do it. Just, you have to.
Okay. He says, what does he say?
Think of the stakes.
Yeah.
Oh.
I made you do it. Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, Chuck, think of the risks.
Oh, man. That is just a
stakes.
Hot piping load of American patriotism right in your face holes.
Dude, that line ends any argument. It ends any argument.
Ever.
Why didn't you pay for the pizza? Why did you just run away? Think of the stakes.
Think of the stakes.
The stakes.
We're really thinking of investing with your group. We were just wondering, you know, what are any risks that we should anticipate in the future?
Think of the stakes.
What kind of fucking maniac talks?
And they were like, interesting answer. Interesting. Is he going to come back into the room, or is the conversation over?
Greg, I really think we should pursue other options.
Do you know what he meant by stakes?
Did he fart on his way out, or was that just his natural aroma?
What just happened here?
Okay, one of my other favorite parts in this film is the man who kills the two people with the gun with the silencer, but gunshots clearly ring out loudly.
Yeah, he has the tactical, and that's
the tactical pistol with a scope and a silencer.
Yeah, so that suppressor. Okay, even though silencers in Hollywood movies don't really sound like that, I mean, they're suppressors, not silencers. So, you know, you can still hear a certain amount. Like that gunshot shootout in the John Wick movie when they both have silencers and they're shooting at each other while the crowd is walking through and everything.
We should do a John Wick.
Dude, visually it's beautiful, but in actuality it wouldn't work like that at all. So this guy, I mean, there's not even the hint of a suppression, though. It's like, pow, pow, right?
Yeah. When he blasts those two fucking on the beach watching Phyllis Diller on a portable TV.
Oh, man, and that was a shame. Because
America!
They were a cute, young couple, their whole future right in... Young Americans, with their future right in front of them, right? And this damn commie terrorist just blows them away with a
passionate
malfunctioning silencer.
Passionate embrace on a beach.
Yes. And she was in a cute bikini, and we didn't have a chance to see her naked because they killed her beforehand.
Yep.
So these producers really don't know what they're doing when they're making movies. It's all about the explosions with this movie.
We really missed out on watching that girl get raw dogged on a blanket at the beach.
I'm just saying, opportunities for international distribution. That's all, you know.
Fucking... Do you have anything else to say about Invasion USA besides watch it immediately?
It's too bad there wasn't a sequel.
Yeah, I could have.
But
I could
there
really
is
use
Delta Force.
Yeah.
So I think that's next.
And there are 3 missing in action movies.
Oh man. I mean, could you ask for more? It just keeps on giving, dude.
Man. Chuck Norris has become like my new favorite like subcategory of film.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I liked Chuck, but I liked him more in the early days with the Code of Silence and those
Bad Guys Wear Black, shit like that.
Yeah, Good Guys Wear Black.
Good Guys Wear Black.
Yeah, but it's I mean, yeah.
No, Bad Guys Wear Black
Octagon.
is the line from a Pantera song.
Oh, okay. Well,
Cowboys from Hell to be specific.
Well, that song is direct response to the title of that Chuck Norris movie. That's what that is. So.
I mean, I do believe that any film made past, let's say, 1990 was probably directly influenced by Chuck Norris and
or
his
one
work.
of them. Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we would not have The English Patient or Chocolat or The Mask without this just blazing star in the night sky to bring us home.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
That didn't make any goddamn sense, but
it made some slight sense. Let me put it this way. Chuck Norris is enough of an icon that when the internet was coming up with funny things and lists and things like that, the lists of all of Chuck Norris's superpowers just went into the thousands. I mean, the guy is a legend, and he stays an internet legend, and you don't do that without actually, living a pretty ridiculous life, which this guy did, you know? So even though his movies are fucking batshit crazy, they still have the explosions and the good times I grew up with, so I fucking love them.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Chris, for making this possible. Thanks for, springing for the theatrical environment that we camped out in and our luxurious
massive amounts of technical difficulties. It took us like 4 hours to watch this movie.
No, that was because we were enjoying our luxurious seats and
bounty of
feasts.
snacks.
Yes. It had
just
nothing
ate
to
like
do with the
shit
technical
pigs.
difficulties. Yes, we were troughs like pigs. Yes. Anyway, it was wonderful.
Real
dude.
gross.
It was wonderful, and I thank you.
Brad, what have you got to plug before we get out of here?
Oh, let's see now. I'm kind of revamping the Mountain Fire Media site. There's still the Vice vs. Vampires radio play. I'm going to be releasing my own little calendars, not to compete with your Hot Chicks calendar that's coming out soon.
We haven't announced any of that.
I know nothing.
I will bleep all of that out until it's actually done.
Yeah, so I basically am looking at new ways to advertise and promote, and I have a couple of video projects. The one that I think is going to be most fun is called Before Movies Sucked. And it's just conversations about movies from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, where much like we were praising all of the practical effects, that's an example of one thing that's missing in current movies that miss and make them suck. So
yeah. I'm very excited about that project.
Oh, thank you. So the first episode for that should be out Monday or next week sometime, and soon. and also podcast stuff. Just look up Mountain Fire Media, and you'll find me. How about you, Chris? What do you got going?
You can find us at the social medias. Just look for Horror Vomit. We're around. If you want to send us an email, you can send us an email to horrorvomitpodcast@gmail.com.
Sweet.
Go check out our Facebook group. We have started a GoFundMe called The Devil Saves Christmas, where we are trying to raise $666 for local families that need assistance for the holidays because
Hail Christmas.
Shit still kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And we're not wealthy. We know a few people who really could use the help, so you can find information about that there. I think that's about it. I believe.
Well, then, once again, thank you very much for having me.
Everybody's got to believe in something. I believe I'll have... Sorry, I was doing some Fear.
Oh, okay.
Leaving.
Leave.
He was the Mr. Body from Clue.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he was the millionaire that got killed in Clue.
Oh, dig it. Okay.
Yeah, he was the singer for the punk band Fear.
Well, you mean Tim Curry? No. Who is the body in Clue?
The guy who gets killed at the beginning, who the whole mystery is about.
Yeah. What's his name again?
Leaving.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's a... Yeah. Leaving.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note of
yeah, go
confusion-
listen to Fear. Fear's pretty great, and watch Clue because Tim Curry. Yes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
All right. We are really running. All
Okay.
right.
Hugs, kisses, love you all.
Bye, everybody. Thanks
Bye.
for listening to
Thank you.
The very first episode of HPV.
HPV. We need a tagline after that. We'll figure that out. Bye.
We'll wreck your vagina and with sex cancer.
Let's do another playoff HPV.
Sex cancer.
Well, no. Like,
All right, we'll talk about this in a minute. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.